All your
I'm just going to stand by it.
devices that you need for your recording, you can put it on the table if you can. Right. Okay. As a standard media protocol reminder, if you have a question, raise your hand, your name, and media your and then. Alright. Okay, so bring on the candidates.
Thank you, everyone, and very sorry to have kept you waiting, but we did want to wait for the announcement of all our contested areas before we gave this press conference. Um, Despite what has happened, we are very proud of the fact that we ran a very disciplined campaign, a very constructive one, a very positive one. Um, we wanted to present to Singaporeans a message of inspiration. We presented to them and vision for Singapore, and we persuaded them to elect us into Parliament, but obviously that was not to be. But we continue to believe in our message, in the way we approach politics in Singapore, and that we hope will uh, be a message that they will also want to take into consideration as we go into the future. For me personally, I've said that, look, if we lose with grace. On behalf of my teammates at Holland Bukit Timah, we want to congratulate Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan, Ms. Sim Ann, Liang Eng Hua, and Mr. Christopher D'Souza. And I'm sure the candidates in the other constituencies want to also congratulate their opponents in the victories tonight. But I do want to add this caveat. Despite everything that's happened, the opposition still labors under a very undemocratic system. I've said this before, even before the elections. I've put it down in writing, and I do worry. I do worry that if we continue on in this fashion, the future of Singapore is not going to be where we all want to see it go. So again, what we're going to do is just continue with doing what we've done before, and that is continue to be honest with Singapore, to conduct our politics with integrity, and to continue to get this message out of hope that there is something better than what we have right now. There is something better, that we must try to reach for it. And what I've said during the rallies, that nothing of that has changed, and we still want to continue to work for this country, to continue to work for the people, and try to bring a message of hope for our country. That's all that I have to say, and if Paul, you want to add anything, please go ahead.
I think first and foremost, I think I'm very proud of the campaign that was run, and in particular of the outstanding work done by our volunteers. I think everyone who's been to our rallies has been impressed by the set, by the stage, by the organization, and all of this has been done by a very small team of very dedicated volunteers who've put together an amazing effort. It's, as you know, it's my first experience in politics, and it's been a real privilege and honor to work with them. Second of all, I think it's important to acknowledge that the PAP has run a spectacular campaign, as can be seen from the results. I mean, they called the election early, more than a year ahead of time, and they took advantage of all the right things that needed to be done in politics. A combination of SG50, the memory of the passing of the late Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, the population changes. Essentially, that's good politics, and we have to hand it to them and give them all the credit for the result that they have achieved. And thirdly and finally, I think we want to continue to press for social justice, for freedom, for equality, and for justice across the board. You know, we've had so many messages from individuals, and I think the image that sticks in my mind the most from this election is the line of people waiting to get Sun Juan's signature, stretching past midnight on Tuesday night. I think he went home at about 1 o'clock at night. And that tells you that it's not just one or two people or a handful of disgruntled individuals, but there is a deep sense within Singapore. It may not be a significant number right now, but there are a number of people who feel, and a growing number of people who feel that Singapore can be a different place, a place where freedom, democracy, justice, and equality are just as important as material success and well-being, which again the PAP has done very well in bringing forth for it. Thank you.
Dr. Chu, Valerie from Channel News Asia. Two questions. What does this mean for your next elections, and what's your response to what we are seeing nationwide sway away from the opposition?
I think the circumstances that led to the results tonight are very unique, and I dare say it's a one-off thing. And right now, it's just a matter of seeing taking stock of what we, the SDP, has done. And in that regard, I think we have won a lot of hearts, you know, and hopefully that will put us in good stead as we go into the future, to the next election. But as I said before, you know, it's politicians look at the next elections, leaders look at the next generation. So hopefully we'll begin to see a maturing of our political system, where we can think more in the longer term, and where our society's progress can be beyond just one election after another.
Ping from Channel 18 News. Would you like to say a few words in Mandarin, particularly addressing your performance for this election, and your thoughts for the results?
当然，我们有点失望，说今天的我们的成绩好像没有比较好一点，但是我们在这个方面，我们也是好像有点安慰，说我们的这个的竞选有很好的一些替代的政策，我们会本来有希望说新加坡人会想要投我们票，但是这个是我们是没有办法，但是我们也尊重选民他们的这个意见。谢谢。
那你觉得说是什么样的原因造成说今天这样子的一个成绩出来，特别是一面倒的一个成绩？
我是觉得我们这个也是要有长途的看法，不能够只是好像为了一个竞选。我只是希望说新加坡还能够慢慢的进步，还有一点民主，不然反对党永远不会有进步的。如果每次都是媒体都被政府控制，那样子就很难跟选民 沟通，好像跟他们联络，这个是我们觉得好像有点严重的一件事情，就是希望说我们在这个方面会有进步。
Just Jiaqi from Nitrate Life, what are your plans after this G?
Well, as I said, we have begun to, at least in the course of this election campaign, a lot of people looking at us again with the SDP, looking at our policy, what we have to offer Singapore. Just continue to build up on this, and we will see a growing strengthening of the SDP. And as bleak as some things are tonight, I continue to remain hopeful, and we will continue to grow and continue to serve Singapore.
In what way do you plan to strengthen SDP culture?
Well, we've got people,
Huge number of volunteers now.
yes, we've got somebody like Professor Tambaya into our ranks this time round, and there are many other people who are waiting in the wings, who have not stepped into this election yet, and we will see them coming in the future election. And if you look at our rank and file, it has grown, and I just want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of them, all of us sitting up here before the cameras, so each and every one of us up here. There's scores of others working tirelessly behind the scenes and just bringing everything together and making this campaign truly a memorable one for all of us. From the bottom of my heart, I take this opportunity to thank all of you, all of our volunteers, for all the hard work. Thank you to all. Thank you.
What do you think the result indicates in terms of maybe the public perception and also the public acceptance of the policies?
I don't know. I mean, in that sense, in terms of percentage vote share, I think if I've read some of the numbers correctly, we have been inching up. Right? So in that regard, I am very encouraged. And from here on out, let's try to see how we can begin to work to improve on our situation, on our position in the overall political picture.
Dr. Chiu, where do you think SDP stands compared to the other opposition parties, or what is SDP's role?
I think in this election, you have seen the SDP having a very clear message, a message that we wanted to present to Singaporeans, and I think across the board, you've seen that there's been this depression of votes as far as the opposition is concerned. But I think people have heard us. Come to recognize that I think SDP's message has a role to play in the building of Singapore, and I think it's beginning. Slowly, we're understand we've come up from a very deep trough, right? Where up until the mid 2000s there was no internet, no social media for us to get some leverage as far as getting our messaging is concerned. So as we come up, and I've always said this, and I said it before, it really is not where we are at any one moment. How we begin to project ourselves through things which is beyond our control in terms of how the AP wanted to play and having control of the mass media as well. Found it very advantageous to do what they did. So didn't quite get to where we wanted to do with we wanted it to with the voters.
Yeah, I think that the fact that across the board all the opposition parties have seen very similar impact suggests that a lot of these factors are beyond our control. And as I mentioned earlier, the PAP played a masterful campaign in terms of the timing and the use of the state resources and infrastructure.
One more question with just a response from the Muslim unity candidates on what they felt and how they think it is.
Well, we have been working the ground uh, very hard over the last 4 years, and I mean, other than finance, we have found out whatever problems they have given us feedback on. So, and we have acted on those. Um, yeah, you know, we have done our best, and our volunteers has been working awfully hard. So I can only say is that we have fought a good fight, and we'll leave the results to the people within now, and we'll work harder to find out what else is missing. What else does the people think that is missing? And we welcome feedback, and we want people to come and tell us exactly what is it that we can do, we can add to what we have already done.
A very short question. Dr. கடுமையான போட்டி முக்கியமா ஹால் முக்கியமானது சொல்றாங்க அதுலயும் வந்து நிறைய எஸ்எம்சிக்கு நீங்க போட்டி இருக்கீங்க போட்டி எப்படி இருந்துச்சு அதுக்கான உத்திகள் நீங்க எடுத்துக்கிறது மக்களுடைய ரெஸ்பான்ஸ் எப்படி இருந்துச்சு
பொதுவாக மக்களுடைய ரெஸ்பான்ஸ் நல்லா இருந்துச்சு. நாங்கள் போட்டியிட்ட 2 தொகுதி நல்ல ரெஸ்பான்ஸ் எங்களுக்கு கிடைச்சது. பார்த்த இடங்கள்லையும் சரி மக்களுடைய பிரச்சனைகளை நாங்கள் புரிய வச்சு பேசியிருக்கிறது மக்களுக்கு புரியுது. அதே சமயம் மக்கள்கிட்ட இருந்து எங்களுக்கு கிடைச்ச கருத்துக்களையும் நாங்கள் எடுத்துக்கொண்டு தான் நாங்கள் பேசிக்கிறோம். அதாவது கிருத்திமாவை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் நாங்கள் எதிர்பார்த்த வாக்குகள் ஒரு குறிப்பிட்ட வாக்குகளுடைய மக்களுடைய அந்த அவங்களுடைய பிரச்சனைகளை பற்றி பேசும்போது அவங்களுக்கு இருந்த அந்த கோபம் அதாவது மக்களுடைய குறைகளை தான் நாங்கள் வந்து பேசிட்டு இருக்கோம். இப்ப இந்த தேர்தலை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் மக்களிடம் நிறைய பிரச்சனைகள் இருக்கு. மக்களுடைய பிரச்சனைகள் தான் கடந்த 4 ஆண்டுகள்ல மக்கள் சந்தித்த சோதனைகளில் தான் நாங்கள் கருத்தில் கொண்டு இதற்கு தீர்வு என்ன அந்த அடிப்படையில தான் நாங்கள் வந்து இந்த தேர்தலை நாங்கள் போட்டியிடும் போது கருத்துக்களை நாங்கள் மக்களோடு கொண்டிருக்கிறோம். மக்களுடைய அவர்களுக்கு கொடுத்த ஆதரவு வந்து ஒரு பெரிய வித்தியாசம். ஆனால் துரதிருஷ்டவசமாக அந்த தேர்தலுடைய முடிவுகள் நாங்கள் எதிர்பார்த்த மாதிரி இல்லை. ஓரளவு அதாவது ஆளுங்கட்சிக்கு போன தேர்தல் சாதகமாக ஒரு சூழ்நிலை இருக்கு. ஆனா இந்த தேர்தலில் திரும்பவும் ஆளுங்கட்சிக்கு சாதகமாக ஒரு சூழ்நிலை உருவாக்குறதுனால ஒட்டுமொத்தமாக எல்லா தொகுதிகளிலும் வாக்குகள் வந்து சரிஞ்சிருக்கு எதிர்கட்சிகள். இப்ப நாங்கள் இங்க வந்து மீண்டும் பரிசீலனை பண்ணி என்ன காரணம், எதுக்காக அந்த வாக்குகள் வந்து இந்த அளவுக்கு சரிஞ்சிருக்கு, இதுக்கு ஏதாவது புது காரணம், அரசின் கொள்கைகள்ல ஏதாவது மாற்றங்கள் சமீபத்தில் செய்ததுனால ஏதாவது மாற்றம் இந்த மாதிரியான ஒரு சாதகமான சூழ்நிலை ஆளுங்கட்சிக்கு வந்ததுனால நாங்கள் கருத்துல பெற்று பரிசீலனை பண்ண பிறகு அடுத்து நாங்கள் அடுத்த 5 ஆண்டுகளுக்கு நாங்கள் என்ன செய்ய
For the 3 SMC candidates, you could find out what's their response, how they've done, maybe their reasons for their performance and what they have to do now.
Maybe you start with Jess.
First of all, congratulate Rachel for her win, and also to thank her that it has been gracious contact between the both of us. I have the full support of my campaign team, and even though now it's so late, they're still here with me. Thank you very much. So, focus of SDT, PAP, I will be back again. I will continue to work hard to win your votes. Thank you. 好，我要恭祝这个傅海燕小姐她的那个胜利，我也很高兴这个竞选可以在一个很不可以讲说是一个可以很这个gracious 的一个竞选。我已经很努力，也是很尽力。我会尊重选民的意愿，但我会继续的努力，以赢取PAP的也好，和 SDG 的选民也好，我还是会继续的去来赢得他们的票，还有他们的信心。我也希望在此感谢竞选队友，虽然现在很晚了，他们还是在这里支持我。我希望借此衷心感谢他们的支持，谢谢，谢谢。
For me, I think I came to this Bukit Panjang knowing that it is a tough fight, and we have given it our all, and my team as well. You know, they work really hard on the ground. They have helped me. Probably whatever result I get, you know, the greatest effort will have to come from them. And all I can say now is that it's very late. I'm looking forward to go and sleep actually. We'll definitely, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, we wake up in a couple of hours later, my colleague and I, we will come back together, we will sit down, we will again do a hot wash up to see how we can better reach the electorate. And it is, like what I say, like what my colleague have spoken, this result is a little more than disappointing to us. You know, that this national swing of votes going to the ruling party. But however, we respect the voters' decision, and we will work harder to hopefully get our idea across to them, and we will see how it goes.
Are we all good?
Dr. Chi, got one last question.
Wait, that's all.
We are disappointed, in fact. But it is in a way that as a single member constituency, you know, it is quite a difficult task. We know that we are the underdogs. We tried our best. The intention is to be a true representative. But the swing against the opposition is showing that there is something is wrong somewhere. Either the voters may not be fully convinced that we could be an effective voice in the parliament, or that they may feel that because of the economic crisis, it is always very safe for them to be with the ruling party. However, we are trying our best and will continue to be the voice. There are other means to get further information from the voters to see the real scenario, and then we work towards next election to achieve the objective. That is what we intend to do. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, can I just ask
final
one last question? So, Dr. Paul, you mentioned earlier regarding state resources. So, in regards to the state resources, do you think one of the reasons to why PAP have got a big swing this time is because they're able to use taxpayers' money to incentivize residents with upgrading? And also, the mainstream media is a bit biased towards the PAP.
So that's a very loaded question, but I think what is very obvious to all is that there was a lot of feel-good factor with the SG50 celebration, and a lot of the things that came with SG50. And I think you obviously are biased coming from TOC, but you have been very kind to us. But I think to get equal coverage in the mainstream media is something which we still find very difficult. And I know TOC's perspective is they're not balanced, they are the balance, which we appreciate. But unfortunately, the readership of TOC, despite what you all think, is still a lot less than the mainstream media. So I think these are things that we want to hope to see in the future, a more level playing field. And again, this may come about through natural evolution, which is happening in many settings where online and alternative media actually take a even larger chunk of the viewership. However, in Singapore, with compulsory voting, being able to reach out to the elderly and maybe not so tech-savvy individuals may be a bit of a challenge.
All right. If anything positive has come of this election is that I've gotten a couple of more tubs of Haagen-Dazs. So on that happy note, we will see you again 5 years from now.